Hey guys, so this is the second tutorial, so we're going to do pickerviews this time. Try and keep it shorter than last time, not get too bogged down in the details. So as you can see, this is the system pickerview for the date pickerview. So you can see that you can do quite a bit of information in one pickerview. So rather than do a tutorial on just pickerview where you just bring up one item, I figured we do two columns or components in that case, and then spit out the information in the pickerview down here in a label. So let's get started. So create a single view application, call it pickerview tutorial. Okay. Go right into the storyboard and find a pickerview. Drag it right in there. Okay. Now let's declare it in our header file so that we can have fun with it in the implementation file. So we'll just call it picker. Okay. And whenever you're using pickers, you have to bring in the delegate and data source. So just like I did there, you add some carrots and you go ahead and throw up the UIPickerView data source and UIPickerView delegate so that it knows the methods that we're going to be calling from in the implementation file. So then, after you absolutely have to do this, then make sure that you also control and drag down here to the view controller and connect it. So we've just connected it to the data source and we'll connect it to the delegate. So if we do it one more time, you can see that they're both connected. So okay, good there. So we are oh, let's add a label too while we're at it that we're gonna play with a little bit later. So okay, there's our label. Center it up. Okay, and let's throw that into the header file also. Label. Okay. Now we should be finished in the header file for now. And let's go to the implementation file. So you can see we have an error here because we haven't set up the right methods for our pickerview yet. And we should also synthesize the picker and the label so that when we call them out in the code that it'll know what we're talking about when we call them out. So let's do that. And then we're also going to want to create arrays of the strings that we want to throw into our picker view. So let's do NSArray color array, NSArray season array. Okay, not two related things, but whatever, we'll roll with it for now, keeping it simple. So let's go ahead and just throw some objects, throw some strings right into those in our view did load. So color array equals NSArray, allocate it, and then initiate with objects. Okay, red, blue, and yellow. Okay, and season array. Okay, so we have our colors and we have our seasons. So we have everything that we need there. So if we go back to the picker view, what do we have to declare or bring up the methods to implement this picker? So what we have in all pickers is a number of components, which is the columns. Okay, so there's 2 here, there's 4 here. So we're going to have to have a method that returns the number of components. And then we're also going to have a method that returns the number of rows in each component. Okay, so there's 3 in each of these. There's only 2 here. There would be 60 in the minutes and then 12 in the hours. So, and then the last one will be the string that is returned that will go into each particular row in the called out component. So, 3 methods. Let's get at it. So the first one is going to be the number of components. So there's going to be 2 in this one for colors and 1 for seasons. So all we have to do is type N and it knows exactly what we want. So number of components in PickerView. And all we do is return 2. Okay, so now we have 1 for each of our arrays. Now we want another integer that we're going to return, which is the number of rows in each component. So that starts out PickerView. So PickerView, number of components, number of rows in components, sorry. I read right over that and I thought I had the wrong method. Okay, so now we need to separate the integer that we return for each component. So to do that, we're going to make a switch statement. So the switch statement means we put component here, so if the component is, the case is the first component, which is 0, then we're going to return the number of objects in color array. Okay, so color array.count. Okay, so then we have to have a case for our second one. The second component is going to be for the season array account. Okay, and then we'll have an error here because it wants us to have just a backup plan in case these cases don't work. So we just return a 0 down here. That'll never get called. It's really just it'll always hit one of these because we only have 2 components. So just to make the code happy, we have to throw that in there. Okay, and then our third method is, like I said before, it's a string, and it's going to be title for row. So PickerView title for row for component. Okay, so again we're going to do this exact same thing, but instead of returning a count, an integer, we're going to return a string. So instead of doing this, we're going to have color array object at index row. So that means when we're in the first component, component 0, we're going to be dealing with colors, and we want to throw in the string at the row that we're at. So the integer row, and then we're going to, so if we're in the first row, we're going to pull this first object. So we'll do the same thing for seasons. Okay, so right now we should have everything in the implementation for the picker. So if we run, sure, we're on a nice 4-inch screen. Yes, red, blue, yellow. Okay, so we have everything here. We didn't do anything with the label yet. So now we're going to figure out how to spit out some data, or spit out whatever the input is up here into an output. So we're just going to have a label for in this case. So first, I don't want the label to say anything to start. I just want it to be blank. So we're going to clear that out. Just want to move this up. Okay, so come back down here. So now we need to add another method, which this isn't going to return anything. It's just going to change whatever the text is in the label. So we're not returning anything, so it's void. and this is going to be it's going to say did select row. So picker view, and we did select whatever row we selected in whichever component that we're in. So what we do here is what we want to change is our label, okay, but it's the text for our label. So label.text is going to be a string with some format, and let's just let's not really give it anything. We're just going to return our two values. So so these %ats are going to be the variables that we're going to return. So what are the variables that we want in here? They're going to be the color array objects at those rows, or season array object at that row. So, but we have to make sure that it knows which component that we're in also. So we're going to go, for the first one, we're just going to return the color. So the color array, and then it's going to be an object at index, but we can't just say row, because we want to make sure that it knows which component we're in first. So what we do is we have our picker, and then we do selected row in component, and the component for this one is 0. Okay, and we need another bracket there, and then we do the same thing for the season. So season array object at index, and then we have to do the selected row oh, whoops. No, it's object at index, sorry. Picker, selected row and component, and then that's the next one. So that should finish up everything. So that should be good. Let's go ahead and run it. Okay. Blue spring, okay. Blue fall. Blue summer. Yellow summer. Okay, great, it works. Perfect. Okay, now one last thing, I just want to show you also how to, when you run your app, so say we wanted it to be, we wanted our app to start so that blue summer was up right away. Or just that these were selected when we started. So rather than always be at the first ones. So that's going to be in our view did load that will call that out. So view did load. So when it loads up, we want to set the picker. So picker, and we want to have it select row in component. So say we want the first one to select the second row, which is 1 in component 0. So I'm going to just say yes for that. Okay, and then say we want the third row in the second component. Okay, so now when we launch the app, see we have the second row, which is 1, and the third row, 2, in the second component. So that's how you can launch it that way. So I think that's a pretty good amount of information for just picker views. So play around, have fun with them, and you know, start spitting out data and using these more. I think they're a lot of fun. So have fun, guys. Later.